let's get into this. This is an article right here, broken by NOLA.com, also known as Tom Picayune. That's old school name. Jon Gruden under consideration as an addition to the Saints coaching staff. Sources say, not a surprise at all. This is Jeff Duncan with the story. He's breaking it. Saints are expected to make changes to their coaching staff in the wake of their disappointing 23 season. And former NFL head coach Jon Gruden is being considered as a possible addition, according to sources on this day. Now, Gruden, we know he's a Super Bowl coach from the Buccaneers. He won with Tony Dungy's team. We know that. If Dungy would have stayed, I really think he would have won the Super Bowl that year. But y'all know how that went. He went to Indianapolis. Gruden, got traded from the Raiders to the Buccaneers that same year. It's a whole bunch of history. But anyway, the exact nature of the visit with Gruden in Tampa is unclear. And that's what they're saying, that he attended a team meeting the night before the Saints game against the Buccaneers and dined with staff, including Loomis, at a local restaurant later that evening, and according to the sources. So let's say that again. Gruden's being considered. This is something that happened, and the Buccaneers game was 2 weeks ago. So the Saints dined, and they kept this, credit to the insiders, kept this out of public's view until after the season was over with, because usually this would have leaked out. But he attended a team meeting. He, being Jon Gruden, attended a team meeting the night before the Saints matchup against the Buccaneers. And he dined with the staff, including Loomis, at a local restaurant later that evening. Now, the exact nature of the visit with Gruden in Tampa is unclear, but a source familiar with the situation said there's mutual interest between the parties if Gruden does not land a head coaching offer during the upcoming NFL hiring cycle, which I guarantee you that won't happen. I promise you that. Saints head coach Dennis Allen declined to discuss specifics when asked at the end of the season press conference. We're going to go over that Monday if he would make changes to the team's offensive coaching staff. He said he and the team's brain trust, and that's really a very loose word, would look at everything when they meet this week to evaluate the 23 season. His quote was, we're going to play this. I'm not going to go in any of those details in terms of what changes will occur. And he also said, but there's things that will have to be different, no doubt about it. And it starts with him. Gruden would be an addition to the Saints' offensive rather than replacement for an offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael, or another coach in an existing role. The sources said the Saints made a similar move in 2015 when they added Dennis Allen. And they added Dennis Allen to the staff as a senior defensive assistant while Rob Ryan was there as the coordinator. Now, Peyton moved him in as soon as Dennis Allen got fired. That next year, Coach Bay brought him on as a defensive assistant. We already knew the writing was on the wall before he moved Ryan out and put Dennis Allen in. That's exactly what he did. So, and he promoted the coordinator role 10 months later, and Ryan was fired. So it was a very fast transition. Everybody knew what time it was. Gruden attended Saints training camp in August and the team's mini camp in May as a non-paid observer. Gruden also visited Saints training camp and as an observer in 2009. Now, Gruden has a strong relationship with Derek Carr, having coached him for the 3+ seasons with the Oakland and Las Vegas Raiders. And he had some of his biggest and best seasons with Jon Gruden at the helm. So, and Allen said, we always consider new ideas. When asked if we would consider making systematic changes or implementing new ideas to the offensive scheme this offseason, I do think there's some things that we do offensively that have proven to work in our league, and I think we keep some of those things, and yet I think we maybe need to look at how we can do things differently. Now, in terms of Gruden, 60, won that Super Bowl ring we talked about. In 21, he resigned as the head coach in Las Vegas after some racist, sexist, and homophobic emails he sent when he was an ESPN announcer were made public in news reports. The emails were sent from 2011 to 2018 to former Washington Commanders executive Bruce Allen and were discovered amid emails the league obtained during an investigation into the workplace culture of the Washington football team. Gruden has sued the NFL and Commissioner Roger Goodell, claiming that the leaks damaged his personal reputation and destroyed his career. He's seeking monetary damages, and a hearing in the case is expected to be conducted in Nevada Supreme Court on Wednesday. So how consequential will this be, and how coincidental it is with the Jon Gruden stuff popping out, that really the only team in the NFL that would touch Jon Gruden would be the New Orleans Saints because of the Derek Carr situation. Now, he's been out of the game for some times. And John Gruden has a personal vendetta against the NFL, in particular Roger Goodell, which I don't care. I really don't like Roger Goodell. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I was reading a lot of these documents and some of the things dealing with the cases, and I really do think Goodell had something to do with leaking those emails, because it's something going on there, that those particular emails were released, and they have others that's there that also have a lot of other information tied to other people that didn't get out. So only a specific group of emails were able to get out to damage other people, and he knows what time it is, and he's suing them. And like I said, some back and forth going on. For me personally, do I think this is beyond Roger Goodell to do something like that? Not these people are scum, man. What can I tell you? They are scum for real. But anyway, Gruden under consideration for the Saints coaching staff. Now, reaction to that. I personally, I personally think this is a very I ain't gonna say desperate move, but Dennis Allen, this will be year 3. Mickey Loomis, who I hope y'all been listening to the show over the last many months. Y'all understand how I feel about Mickey Loomis in terms of what I think about him as a general manager, which he is not a, like, if you look at what general managers are, I would consider really good general managers like the guy from Philadelphia, like the guy from the Rams, like the guy from the 49ers, Lynch. These are guys, and there are others that are really good general managers, which means they keep their pulse of the team. They're constantly involved. They don't micromanage, but they hire the right guy, then work in unison to make sure the team is strong. So if they're hurt, or if they need work in certain areas, if they need personnel in certain areas, they're on it. I don't need a general manager that hires a coach and then takes his hands off and then tells me, and this is his own terminology. Well, listen, I don't want to get involved. I pretty much, I don't do evaluations during the season. I'm just too emotional. The wins and the losses, it's so much emotion, and I don't get involved. I wait till after the season over with and I do my evaluation, which is crazy. If you're a general manager, and y'all know that general managers are constantly involved in evaluating, almost if not a daily, weekly, monthly basis. That's how you find out what's going on with your team. For him to say something as stupid and asinine as that, which means this is an antiquated model that Mickey Loomis is operating in. He's more VP than he is general manager. That's how guys like Howie Roseman can fleece him for picks, because he's not who you thought he was. That was Sean Payton. Sean Payton would tell you, go get this, go get that. And what his gift was, Mickey Loomis' gift was, he will get you an expensive player that you can't afford, and then he will cook the books and kick the can. Those are the two things that he does really well. Trust me, this is my team. I know what I'm talking about. He cooks the books and kicks the can. That's what Mickey Loomis does well. In terms of him being a visionary and helping stay on top of things, and seeing a guy not being over his head and going in there and say, hey, maybe you need to do this differently, this type of stuff, that's not what he do. He will watch the game like you watch the game, and then and say words like, I hope we win, as opposed to going there and say, listen, bro, we need to get this dub, man. These people really want to see something. And the reason why they don't have that urgency is because they're too comfortable. See, we blessed the New Orleans Saints organization for 20 years. For 20 years. And I want people to understand me, that people out there to really get what I'm saying. And most of the family members from the Great Saint Think Tank understand. But there are people who are new to the stream, that's new to the show, that's new to listening to me, and they're used to more of like a commercial type of talking point, or attitude, or whatever, about when you talk about the Saints. Like, the coverage is supposed to be one way. Like, I'm only gonna say good things about the Saints. I would if they did only good things. But if they do stuff that don't make sense, I'm gonna call it out. You're never supposed to have one way talking points on it, or one way look at stuff all the way through. That's phony, man. That's fake. So I mean, at the end of the day, I cover the team, and I got a rough, I guess you could say a really real, a real take on it, on this team. And I don't care. It will, and they listen. And I don't care what they think. It's not about them. It's about you. It's about me, because we are the supporters of this team, and it's about our money and our power. The power is with us. They need to be concerned if we're upset, not if they're upset. That's how I walk into this. That's how I think. We're the power. We're the top of the pyramid, not the bottom of it. We drive it all. So in the end, the whole thing about John Gruden, a lot of people not gonna like the John Gruden thing because of some of the stuff that John Gruden said in those emails. I'm gonna tell you what, a lot of people are going to forget about that because before he even accepts the job, he's gonna have to apologize for whatever he said or whatever he did, and that's what they're gonna make him do. And I'm telling you, whether you like it or not, that's what they're going to do. The Saints have been interested in this. This has been incremental. These people are incrementalists. This is what they do. They'll introduce you to this, they'll acclimate you to that, and then next thing you know, they had them. They gave you a sneak preview of John Gruden popping up in the building before with Saint gear on. Didn't he have what if he's coming to visit you? Why would he need to put this on? Why would he need a hat and a shirt unless they were showing you a preview of the future of what he can be in terms of the staff being added to the staff? There was really no need for him to have a shirt and a Saints hat. He could have came in there with his own attire. Then the Saints kept him off to the side and away from the reporters where they couldn't ask him any questions. He was off limits. So now that the cat's out of the bag, we know that they were interested in bringing him in. And a lot of this is because of Derek Carr. The introduction to Gruden to the team is because of Derek Carr. Derek Carr has a lot of say in the offensive building with Loomis and in Derek Carr and in Dennis Allen's mind. He said that Gruden would be the guy to bring him in. Now that's one side of it that I just gave you about the emails and all that kind of stuff. The other side of it, the football side of it, is this: Gruden is an alpha dog. Okay, Gruden's an alpha dog. He will bring accountability to the offensive room. He's an alpha dog. Pete is not. He's a beta or whatever you want to call him. Anything but an alpha. He's not. They're too soft there. They're too non-imaginative, and they don't, and they're not disciplined enough. That is not John Gruden. John Gruden's personality is very close to that of a Sean Payton. Their personalities are very similar. That's why when they used to go head to head, they used to really get after each other when they played, because they basically come from the same school of thought. Their mentalities, the alpha dog mentality, the accountability, the discipline principles. The man knows QBing. He's accountable. He'll make you accountable. This type of stuff that a guy like Carr needs, because Carmichael is not going to do that. So he will bring to the offensive room that which it is lacking. He will bring the experience. He knows how to get Carr the most out of Carr, because he'll make sure Carr don't keep staring down half the field half the time. He'll make sure he does that. And on the other side of things, before I get up, and this just quick segue point, somebody sent me a snippet of an article from Jeff Duncan. He was talking about with Mike Thomas and Marshawn Lattimore. And he was basically saying that, we need to get rid of these guys, all this kind of stuff. And listen, Jeff Duncan, man, has been doing a really good job this year. But sometimes, and like I say, he goes off the reservation sometimes. We know that Mike Thomas doesn't like Jeff Duncan. He knows that. Mike Thomas called him out early in the season. You don't want to be riding that bull. He told him that to his face and just kind of treated them really nastily up there on the. So we know there's not a love interest. There's not a love story, a love connection there. But the Mike Thomas thing is a moot point. I think Mike Thomas is definitely gone. So that don't make no sense to talk about that aspect. But trading Marshawn Lattimore, a shutdown cornerback who just got a restructured contract, is stupid as hell. You don't get rid of lockdown cornerbacks in the NFL when you have all these fantastic wide receivers. If you want to trade somebody or talk about restructuring people's deal with Ramczyk. Have the same energy you have for Lattimore for Ramczyk. See, that's why the sports coma is so impactful, because it give excuse me, it gives us the ability to be able to kind of, it's the voice of the family members, man, for real. Because I understand what the Mike Thomas thing is, but man, I got love for Mike, because Mike Thomas put in a lot of work for the Saints for many years. And I'm about to get back to my other point, but just wanted to say that. But Mike Thomas, his time is up here. He lost faith in Dennis Allen. He lost faith in Derek Carr, because if it's accountability, if the guy's telling you this is the problem, you don't make it look like he's a problem child. Mike Thomas, but besides him tweeting some stuff on social media, he's not a troublemaker. It's a few tweets here or there, and it's not like something that was ridiculous. Was it untrue? Oh no, you just can't say that kind of stuff. And it's just ridiculous, man. I don't know. These people are coming from hatched out of eggs somewhere. I don't know where these people come from, bro. But they don't reside in the realm of reality, any reality that I understand or know. I just don't get it. But in the end, Marshawn Lattimore to me should not go anywhere. If you want to really deal with somebody, deal with Ramczyk. Ramczyk got a tore up knee, and he might not even play next year. His play was going down several times for the last several years. I've been talking about it until they finally decided to bring it out because he couldn't play on it no more. Because instead of getting surgery last year, he opted to get pain shots in his leg and play with it to the point where the painkiller don't even work no more. That he got to go out and see. So it was a bad decision because you're never supposed to do that to yourself to play a game. But in the end, no to Lattimore getting traded because you don't trade lockdown cornerbacks, and Mike Thomas is already out of here, man. So it's just a little commentary. Back to the group and stuff. He will bring the accountability to the offensive room that we've lacked and that we've been lacking for some times under Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen is a pussycat. Dennis Allen is a beta male. Dennis Allen is not a guy that most people in the stars of the team is going to respect because that he's a backstabby guy, right? He's a backstabby, loose, weak leader, a very loose and weak, non-respected leader. And people been saying that. And did not tell you guys when the season got ready to end, you was going to see stuff come out that they been holding back in the dam. I told you guys that. And what did Jameis do when it came down to it? And Jameis been running into problems with Dennis Allen since way back last year when he accused Dennis Allen of backstabbing him and lying to him. But did Dennis Allen make it right with him? No. In the season, he refused to play him and kept Andy Dalton in there, even when Jameis was healthy. So Jameis got a little payback, and I'm gonna talk about that today in this stream. But in terms of the Jon Gruden thing, this is not really something that's very surprising in my mind. That they've been grooming people for this mentality by like pictures like having Gruden in this picture right here early on. And from a football perspective, it does make a lot of sense. Now, there has been no decisions made in terms of the Saints offensively speaking. I do, however, however, believe that the Saints will not get rid of Pete Carmichael. I told y'all that in the back of the season. You said, Q, they're going to get rid of Pete Carmichael. They're not going to get rid of Pete Carmichael unless he elects to leave. Pardon me. I don't think they're going to get rid of Pete Carmichael unless he elects to leave and go follow Peyton somewhere. I think Curry more than likely will probably find a job somewhere. But Gruden, nobody's going to hire Gruden for anything. He's pretty much radioactive to everybody else except the Saints. And their way back into the NFL is through the Saints with him and his connection to Derek Carr. So does this make the Saints offense better? Just straight football talk from any other perspective. It does. Because it gives a guy with that type of mentality and understanding of the offense, it puts him in control of the Saints offense, and it makes him make Derek Carr accountable, where Pete Carmichael and Dennis Allen do not. They just coddle him. You can't coddle these guys. And that was the frustration with Michael Thomas and Chris Olave and everybody else that he got into arguments with, because there are people besides me and you and some of the sports reporters and our fantastic writers were calling these people out and telling them that this guy is not doing what he's supposed to do. And then, of course, he's looking half the field early on before he even got a rhythm going with his wide receivers. He wasn't even seeing the full field. He was throwing and looking at half the field. So numbers that Michael Thomas might have put up when he was healthy was skewed because he wasn't even looking in his direction. And when he was throwing to him, it was low or high. I mean, see, that's the thing. When you watch all these games, you play by play all these games, you got all this stuff in your head about when the season comes to an end and you see all of this stuff rushing in your head and you talk about who did what and how did they did. I remember all of that stuff, man. The great majority of it I remember. I remember the poor thrown inaccurate passes toward Michael Thomas that were bad or behind or over his head, or him staring left the entire way and they got guys running free on the right side of the field wide open. Stuff like that. I remember that. So it skews the catch stats for wide receivers when they are doing their jobs getting over and the quarterback don't even look in their direction. Gruden will help with that. He will pinpoint that where a Pete Carmichael would never even check him. The whole damn season they didn't even check him on that. So I mean, in the end, I think it would help in terms of that. But in terms of the other stuff, the email stuff, man, listen, a lot of people ain't gonna like that because I get the emails. Q, you believe this, that, and the third. I say, listen, fam, this the NFL. It's a business. That dude just have to stand up in front of you and apologize, whatever he gonna do, and he gonna apologize, whether it's in front of you or through some type of whatever for him to get the job. That's what kind of culture that is. And like I said, the Saints are ready for it because they've been exposing you to this guy for some time now, and they do whatever Derek Carr says. So get ready for Gruden when the time comes.